Welcome to the NAIOP Southern Nevada Breakfast Program. My name is Cassie Catania Sue, and I am your 2024 NAIOP Southern Nevada Chapter President. Good morning to everybody over Zoom. Please make sure that you are logged in and set up, as we will get started shortly. For all of you in the room, please make sure to write down your questions as the panel is going, and Dan and his esteemed programs committee will walk around to collect questions at the end. We will start questions promptly at 9 a.m. Today we have a star-studded audience and panel that includes some very special guests. I would like to recognize our elected officials that are in attendance today. When I call your name, please stand to be recognized. City of North Las Vegas Councilman Isaac Barone. City of North Las Vegas Councilwoman Ruth Garcia Anderson. City of Las Vegas Councilman Brian Knudsen. And City of Henderson Councilman Jim Seabuck. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize all of our UNLV students. Please stand to be recognized. I'd also like to take a quick moment to let you know that you should have received last week a communication survey from us in your email inbox. If you have not taken the survey yet, please do so. We will resend it out today following the breakfast, now that you've all been told. It does look like the email header will look like it does up on the screen. So please look for that today and take that. The board is looking at ways to better streamline our communication for all of you. So your feedback and comments on that survey will be greatly appreciated and help us come up with a new strategy. Thank you. Please also don't forget that CRE Converge is here in Las Vegas October 8th through 10th at Caesars Palace. The early bird rate is still in effect, but is going to end shortly. So please make sure that you go online and register as soon as possible. We are, as Julie mentioned last month, really hoping to have 100 members in attendance at Converge this year. So please get on and register soon, and we'll be telling you probably next month about all of the great tours that we are working on in conjunction with the convention. So it will be worth your while. And last week, we actually had our 2024 DLI graduation. So if you are a Dolly member who just graduated, or Dolly graduate, please stand to be recognized. Congratulations to all of you, and congrats for being here this morning. Make sure you stay involved. Now I'd like to take a moment to honor all of our President's Circle sponsors. They are the critical component that keeps our chapter running, so thank you for your support. This year we have 4 platinum sponsors. Special thank you to each one. Cox Business, who has supported our chapter for 21 years. Thank you. Gatsky Commercial Real Estate since 2022, thank you. Martin Harris Construction since 2001, thank you. And Schnitzer Properties since the turn of the century in 2000, thank you. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our gold sponsors, Howard Hughes, Kimley Horn and Associates, Majestic Realty Co., Nevada General Construction, Panattoni Development Company, Prologis, and Southern Nevada Water Authority. Thank you. Now please check the screen as we recognize the remaining President's Circle sponsors. Our silver sponsors, thank you. Our bronze sponsors, thank you. And our copper level sponsors, thank you very much. If you are not yet a President's Circle sponsor, please reach out to any of us on the board or Miss Lisa Brady. We would be happy to tell you more. And now on to our committee announcements. Well, those of you committee members that have announcements, please come forward. Looks like you're talking to the wall over here. We might need to turn that around.
Now, can you hear me? Perfect. Good morning, everyone. So Morgan Elson with Colliers. I'm the vice chair on the bus tour committee. So we received a good amount of positive feedback on the virtual bus tour format last year, so we're going to be repeating that this year here at the Orleans. We are doing a Monopoly-themed bus tour called NAIOP. It's going to be Thursday, November 14th, so make sure to mark your calendars. You should have received an email for property submissions. Submissions are going to be due Monday, July 15th, so make sure to submit any properties that either you or your clients are working on. And then lastly, we're going to be sending out a sponsorship form here in the next week, so keep an eye out for any opportunities. If you have any questions, let Jonna, myself, or Jerry Doty know. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Tanya Carrasco with Wright Engineers, here on behalf of the Community Service Committee. This summer, we'll be collecting school supplies for the upcoming school year to benefit Hollingsworth Elementary STEAM Academy. Hollingsworth is located in downtown Las Vegas and could really use our support to be well equipped for a great 2024-2025 school year. There's a graphic on the screen with the items needed and a link to the Amazon page to shop directly. Don't worry, all this will be emailed to you shortly. We'll have a few drop-off locations, but feel free to reach out to anyone on the committee with questions or to pick up donations. Thanks for your continued support.
Good morning, Dina Marcello, retail broker with Colliers. I'm here on behalf of the DLI committee. This is just a reminder that our DLI application process is open. Applications are due July 10th. Highly encourage you to go on the website to learn more, or you can reach out to me or Thomas Godabout with any questions on it. However, if you're not familiar with the DLI program, it's for members who are 35 years old or younger looking to elevate their leadership, sharpen their overall real estate expertise skills from our leading professionals here in Southern Nevada. So again, applications are due July 10th, and just go on our website at naiopnv.org to learn more. And if you want to support our DLI class, which I highly recommend that you do, it's our Leadership of Tomorrow. We do still have some sponsorships available. Reach out to myself or Thomas Godabout with First Savings Bank, and we will get you signed up. And this is your reminder that our DLI, our national award, is also active. So if you're an active DLI member, 35 years or younger, you're eligible to apply for the National NAIOP Developing Leader Award. You do not need to be a DLI graduate to apply for this award. And you can apply at naiop.org under Events and Awards, and the deadline is July 28th, and that will be here in Las Vegas to be celebrated October 8th through the 10th at Caesars. And we have some amazing past winners right here in the room. Kyle Nagy, Suzette LaGrange, Dana Berggren, Jennifer Turchin, Cassie Catania-Sue, Matt Hoyt, and Mariana Honeycutt. So your name could join that list. Thanks.
Hey, Dina, would you say it's safe to say that for DLI, they shouldn't wait till the deadline because they're the future leaders?
Yes,
Okay.
Also agree.
Just want to make sure everyone in the room knows to get their applications in sooner than later.
Right on. Hey, I'm Art Green with Geotechnical Environmental Services. I was told to keep this short, but if you're a member, we have a lot going on this summer. If you're not a member, it's going to be a long, hot summer. But let's start with what's going on next week. We have our members-only mixer next Thursday. It's at the Sand Dollar Lounge. It's a truly iconic place in Las Vegas, but you got to RSVP really soon. So I know you've seen it in your inbox. You can also find it on our website. On July 12th is our next event. That's a new member mixer, again, member. So look for an email. If you're a new member, you have an opportunity to learn more about how to get involved in NAIOP. And on August 1st is our annual bowling tournament, which is already 50% sold out. Good news for non-members, you only have to have one member on your team. So go shake hands with people like me and see if you can get on my team. But again, it's 50% sold out. We are looking for sponsorships. For the bowling tournament. Sponsorships are not expensive, and you'll get lots of exposure at this annually sold-out event. If you have any questions about membership or any of these events, I'll be staying late. Just look for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did Linda from last month join? I sure hope so. Thank you, Art, and thank you to all the committee chairs. Thank you for everything that you do. If you are not yet on a committee, please reach out to any of us that just gave announcements or anyone on the board. We'd be happy to give you more information. But it is the work of many that makes all of these amazing events and awards and leadership programs work and function. So we do need help all the time and would love to see all of you join our committees. Each month, we also like to take a moment to recognize our new members. So if you are a new member, please stand to be recognized. You should have a red ribbon on your name tag if you are a new member, and they are up on the board. So I hope to see you at the new member coffee on July 12th, so we can tell you all about the committees. NAIOP is currently 714 members strong and ranks the top 8th in the nation. So we are very proud of our chapter. So congratulations on hitting 714. If you're not yet a member, please feel free to reach out to Art or Micah or any of us. We'd be happy to give you more information. Now I'd like to take a moment to thank our 2024 breakfast meeting sponsors: American Nevada Realty, Carpenter Sellers Delgado Architects, Cox Business, Gatsky Commercial Real Estate, Martin Harris Construction, McCarthy Building Companies, NV Energy, R&O Construction, Southern Nevada Water Authority, Southland Industries, and our breakfast Wi-Fi sponsor, Schnitzer Properties. Thank you. I like the slides on the side of the room, much easier to see. Now I'd like to take a moment to welcome to the stage today's breakfast sponsor, Cox Business. Chuck Eller is the enterprise manager for Cox Business. Welcome to the stage, Chuck.
Thank you so much. It's our honor today with this great program to be the sponsor. As Cox Business, I'm sure most of you or all of you know a little bit about Cox, so I try to give you 1 or 2 nuggets that you don't know that we do. So the first thing, I'm sure most of you know, on the commercial side, we do internet, phone, cable TV. On the residential side, we have Cox Media, but we power the stadiums in town. So CES and the Convention Center, Allegiant Stadium with the Raiders, the Aviators. We've got the Knights with the T-Mobile Arena. But what you probably don't know is we have a $1 billion company called Cox Farms. So I'm going to give you 3 today: Cox Farms, Cox Private Networks, and Cox Security Solutions. So for those of you that are in the development world, and connectivity is very important, obviously, for your certificates, for everything. Just like last week we had NV Energy and Brian. Shout out to the note that they were lowering prices. Let's get a warm round of applause. We're doing the same thing at Cox as well. We're lowering prices through a program called Gift of Speed. So on the residential side and the business side, you have the ability to get more for the same price, which is exciting. Now for the private network and the developers, that is something that is exciting that we've now implemented that will give you line of sight. Similar to if we don't have fiber to an area and we're building out and you're waiting for us in permits, we can kind of beam the signal to them. We can do private cellular. So there's a whole bunch of different things that we do now that we weren't able to do before. We had to wait for the fiber to be pulled in. So that's an exciting program. And then the Cox security side, everybody's been seeing in the news, you've got large dealerships being hacked. We had last night, I got a call from a large hospital that got hacked, and so security is really important. That is a big growing part of our business. So if you didn't know that about Cox, then this is the time to reach out to us and find out what our capabilities are in that space as far as monitoring, helping try to keep any kind of DDoS threats, all that type of thing. So please reach out to your Cox rep or raise your hand. Cox guys over there. We got Bill, Matt, Trevor over here. They'd be glad to take any questions or hand you a business card. Now I'm going to give 3 giveaways. I named 3 things. If you raise your hand, I'll call on you, and you get a chance to go to either the T-Mobile, Allegiant, or Las Vegas ballpark for an event. So what are one of the 3 that I told you today that you maybe didn't know? Cox Farms, you got it. All right, see one of these gentlemen's after. All right, how about another one? Line of sight. Line of sight, you got it. That's the Cox Private Networks. Okay, we got one more. Who said it? All right, perfect. All right, please see us after. Thank you so much. We're honored again. We've got a great program ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck, and to Cox Business for your support. And congrats to the three of you for paying attention. And before we head it over to the panel, I would like to just take a moment to recognize a member this month. Today, I would like to recognize Mr. Sean Brunswick. I saw you. Where are you? There you are. Deshawn is really a newer member to the scene. She joined in March of 2022. She is the Director of Operations at SVN, the Equity Group, and she joined and jumped in, head first, and she has been really integral in a lot of committees. She did Dolly in 2023, and she has been, again, very active on the committees as she joined and even stepped up this year to co-chair community service with Miss Megan. So we just want to take a moment to thank you, Mr. Sean, for everything that you do and for leading a lot of our UNLV involvement with Micah. So thank you for, again, making a difference in a short amount of time for our chapter. Thank you. And before I turn it over, speaking of today's program, thank you to the Amazing Programs Committee for putting on the best programs in the business all year. If you are interested in joining the committee, please let Dan Tetlin know. We'd be happy to have you. Today, before I turn it over, I would like to take a moment to recognize Mr. Tim Castello. Thank you, Tim, for agreeing to moderate today's panel. It's been a real joy getting to serve on the NAIOP Southern Nevada board with you this year. Tim is a lifelong Nevadan, has nearly 20 years of experience in development, land entitlements, brokerage, and civil construction. He has developed industrial assets in multiple states, focusing on Southern Nevada, and co-invested with private equity and institutional capital. In 2022, he sold the portfolio of Brascap Development, a company he co-founded. Tim has entitled and sold hundreds of residential lots to national home builders and holds a QE for general engineering license in Nevada. He is a chairman of the Clark County Planning Commission, and again, serves on the NAIOP Southern Nevada Board of Directors with me and several others, and the Southern Nevada CCIM president-elect. So congratulations, and thank you very much, Tim, for moderating today. I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, thank you for the introduction, Cassie. I appreciate it. I'm very excited about this morning's panel. As Steve Niger was just reminding me, the good thing about this is I don't have to know any of the answers. So excited about that. Most of us in the room today, none of the panelists need any introduction. Most of us in the room today do business in all three of their jurisdictions. Since we're all so familiar with them, I'm going to read some shortened bios. As panelists, as you hear your name called, feel free to come up to the stage and take a seat. Unfortunately, Mayor Romero is feeling a little under the weather, so we wish her a speedy recovery. Councilman Dan Shaw will be sitting in for her this morning, and I know he's going to do an incredible job for us. Mayor Goodman had a conflict and unfortunately will be unable to join. Commissioner Tick Segerblom. Clark County Chairman Tick Segerblom has served on the board since 2019 and currently presides as chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. As a third-generation Nevadan, he brings a legacy of service to the residents of our community. Commissioner Segerblom served in the State Assembly from 2006 to 2012 and as a state senator from 2012 to 2018. Prior to politics in Nevada, Commissioner Segerblom was in the White House Personnel Office for President Jimmy Carter and was later appointed by former Nevada Governor Richard Bryan to the Colorado River Commission. Commissioner Segerblom, if you'd like to join us up here. Mayor Pamela Goynes-Brown. Pamela Goynes-Brown serves as the mayor of the city of North Las Vegas. A longtime educator turned public servant, Mayor Goynes-Brown previously served as the councilwoman of North Las Vegas's Ward 2 for over a decade. A longtime resident of North Las Vegas, Mayor Goynes-Brown has lived in the city since 1964 when her family moved to the area. She pursued a career in public education and worked for the Clark County School District for 35 years. In 2014, Mayor Goynes-Brown was recognized for Women in Business and Politics from the Urban Chamber of Commerce. She has received numerous honors and recognitions over the tenure of her career from various local and state governmental entities as a result of her dedication and commitment to the betterment of the communities. Mayor? And Councilman Dan Shaw. Dan Shaw serves as a Henderson City Councilman representing Ward 2, including Anthem, Inspirada, and West Henderson. He represents Henderson on various boards, including the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority and the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition. He is currently President and CEO of Rustler Investments and Shaw Jones Partners, LLC. Previously, he was the owner of RMI Development, RMI Investment Services and Realty Management, as well as president of the Vista Group, where he was responsible for the development and construction of shopping centers, office parks, apartment projects, and industrial office facilities throughout Southern Nevada. Prior to his 2017 City Council appointment, he chaired the Clark County Planning Commission and Henderson's Planning Commission. A proud Army veteran and enthusiastic cowboy, he competes in team roping events across the western U.S. Councilman Shaw, welcome. So good morning. Thank you, Chairman Segerblom, Mayors Goynes-Brown, and Councilman Shaw for joining us today. We appreciate it and excited to have you here. We have a great turnout. I believe we had close to 300 people that registered for our event, and I believe a handful joining us via Zoom this morning. We're going to cover some very impactful topics to both the community and to the NAIOP membership this morning. We're going to discuss new and exciting development in each jurisdiction, regulation and entitlements, a lands bill, affordable housing, Ivanpah Airport, and future growth in the community. Unfortunately, we're a little limited on time, so we're going to take about 45 minutes for the panel discussion, and then we'll turn it over to Dan Tuntlin for Q&A with the audience. So we'll start with a little bit of a fun question, and I ought to say fun for all of us in this room, being developers and brokers, engineers and architects, is a little different than most. So. But let's talk a little bit about what the most exciting current and future real estate development in each of your jurisdictions are, be it either public or private. Mayor Goynes-Brown, we'll start with you on this one.
Awesome. Well, good morning, and thank you, everyone, for having me here. Excited to be here. I will just touch on some very exciting projects in the city of North Las Vegas. And, of course, the one that everyone knows about is our Apex Industrial Park, and I know you've heard that over and over and over, but we're just so excited to continue to highlight that. And that includes 7,000 acres of the developable land. Currently, there's 28.5 million square feet of projects that are currently active or are under construction or planned. And right now, there's 11 active projects over 2,000 acres. And many of you in this room are also part of those projects. So thank you for trusting in North Las Vegas. And currently $900 million in water and sewer infrastructure project, the partnership with Southern Nevada Water Authority and the city of North Las Vegas. And so in April of 2024, the distribution of the water line construction began, and so we're super proud of that. And so that completion date is looking around mid-2027. Another exciting project in North Las Vegas is our North Las Vegas Medical Campus, and that is comprised of our job creation zone in the city of North Las Vegas in the 215 Pecos area, and it's 640 total acres. 135 of our job creation zone will be the main medical campus, and that's just adjacent to the VA hospital. It's going to be a health and wellness master plan project, and so that's all I'm going to say about that right now, because it's kind of in the infancy stages, but totally following the goals and what the city council has decided, to work on for years. It's finally coming to fruition. So just stay tuned for more information about that. Hilo Park, and all of these are just bringing smiles to my face because I can just see them. And that's the former Texas and the Fiesta site that many of you are aware of. And that's going to be a 773-acre project with over $350 million in private development by a great partner, Agora Realty. It's going to be a family-oriented athletic complex. Champion Square is what it's going to be called. Retail shops, restaurants, residential housing, and there will be over 1,000 jobs created just in Hilo Park alone. And our last great, exciting project is our downtown corridor. And I've often said that people ask, does North Las Vegas even have a downtown? And I'm like, well, yes, we do. And so we are totally going to redefine that area. That's our Lake Mead to Las Vegas Boulevard corridor as you exit off the 15 freeway. On that site, there's 30 acres, and again, our awesome partnership with Agora Realty, a $250 million private investment, 20,000 square feet of medical office building, 200,000 square feet of planned retail, restaurants, micro business units, and a community focus and public spaces, and that will create over 800 new jobs. And those are just 4 of the larger projects that will also compile with all of our residential developments in North Las Vegas and other commercial projects. So we're really exciting. We are moving at the speed of business.
Very good. You guys have a lot going on in North Las Vegas. Very, very exciting time for the city of North Las Vegas. Commissioner Segerblom, or Chairman Segerblom, we'll turn it over to you now.
It'll be tough to top that. But I will say this, if you want to build in Red Rock, we just gave in and authorized 2,000 acres on the top of the Red Rock Mesa. It cost us $80 million to do that, but if you want a piece of property, I've got some property in Red Rock I want to sell you. We also have an airport, down by Jean, Nevada, that we're working on. It's going to be about 10 years before we start building it, but it's the works. It's in the works. We have a railroad coming from Los Angeles, which tough to top that. That's also in the works. To the east, I have a great Independence development, be 1,500 townhomes. It's a huge development in my district, so I'm very proud of that. And then, of course, we have all the things in the Northwest and the Southwest and everywhere. But finally, on the Strip, we have several major hotels that are planned. We just finished construction of the Sphere, which is totally unique and changed in Las Vegas. The convention center has been, the first stage has been done. We're in the second stage of that, making us the #1 convention center in the world. And then next to that, we have a couple of properties going in. But honestly, Vegas has always been up and down cycles, and I've lived through most of them. We probably all have. But it's tough to see that we won't, for at least another 10 years, have pretty much a steady up go. So it's very, very exciting from the county's perspective. Thank you.
Very good. A lot going on in the county as well. Are you opening it up for more development in Red Rock, or it's just that road piece?
No, that one, that $80 million, that's all we can afford right now. But and honestly, that's going to be a tough thing for Mr. Rhodes. He's got to get water up there and sewer up there and lots of things. So it's going to be a tough one. But he put us in the corner, and we said we give up. So thank you.
No mas. Okay, Councilman Shaw.
Isn't it amazing what you learn here? That's the best spin on an $80 million settlement I think I've ever heard in my life. So congratulations, Tig. A lot going on in Henderson. We've annexed the eastern side of Henderson out by Railroad Pass. A lot of new development going on out there, industrial and some residential. Water Street is booming, continuing to expand our downtown area. A lot of great restaurants, activities. New hotel is just almost finished in Henderson. Probably one of the exciting things we've got is the Fiesta Casino site. We have acquired, it's gone out to many surveys to determine what is best for that site. We have issued an RFQ on that. That announcement will be forthcoming probably in the next 30 days. And excited to have new athletic facilities, performing arts facilities, retail, restaurants in that site. West Henderson is continuing to boom. We have lots of new announcements coming as far as new job opportunities out there, new development. We just approved the mosaic for Kevin here, his industrial development and residential development out there. A lot of exciting things. So we're thrilled to be a part of the community, and we think we're kind of leading the charge on good development and good opportunities.
Very good. Thank you. And we appreciate the leadership from all of you in your jurisdictions. A lot going on, considering we've got some high interest rates out there right now compared to what we've seen over the last decade or so. So let's talk a little bit about entitlements. This is a very impactful to everyone in the room. I look back on past projects that I've developed, and going back 8-10 years, the entitlement process used to be, roughly 90 days we could get a project entitled. Speaking to a few home builders recently who track their applications, it's now taking on average 12 months to entitle a project across the board. I'd like to take a few minutes to have each of you speak about the current process in each of your jurisdictions and what we could do to work together to make that process a little more expeditious. And we'll start with Councilman Shaw on this one and work our way back.
Thank you. I'm happy to announce that I'm pretty sure Henderson has the shortest time frame of any of the municipalities. We've gone to great lengths to try to shorten that as much as we can. We have a development services center where developers can go directly in. If there's no waivers or zone changes, they can start that process almost immediately, and it takes 3 to 6 weeks to complete that. We're trying to streamline everywhere we can to speed that process up, and it's always a challenge because we have new building codes that come into play. We have a master plan that we follow, and so as a result of that, sometimes developers want to change that master plan, and that tends to be an effort. But for the most part, I think that we're kind of leading the municipalities in how rapidly we can process permits and plans.
Thank you for that answer, Commissioner Segerblom.
I'm pretty sure that I can say that the county is the slowest of all the entities, so I don't think anyone's going to challenge me on that. So on behalf of the county, I apologize. If those of you who are in development appreciate the fact that we've been through some ups and downs and we've changed our process, but we are aware of the difficulties that particularly small developers are having, and so we are trying to look at changing that, starting with, we have an appointment system now, which is become difficult, but mainly because we don't have the same person each time you go to the county. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can have the same person stick to it so they know what you're dealing with. We can also try to figure out a way that appointments don't get canceled. So there's lots of things we can work on, and we're looking to Henderson, frankly, and North Las Vegas to how we can do that. The other thing is we do have, during COVID, we lost a ton of people. So our experienced people, we have a lot of new people on the staff, but they're learning how to do their job, and so it's taking some time for that. And the final thing is, we do the big projects. So when it comes to the big hotels or whatever, that's where our focus is, and that's where we're so great. But we need to get back to the basics and make sure that the small developer and the homeowner, the small planner can work with us too. So we're a work in progress, but we hear you. But feel free again to reach out and complain or suggest or whatever, because we realize that we're the slow turtle on the block.
Well, thank you for stepping up and admitting that. We you said it, we didn't. So, Mayor Goynes-Brown.
I can't say anything because we hear that. It's okay. But I'm just happy to report that in the city of North Las Vegas, we can get your entitlements in less than 90 days. And going through our self-certification program, we can get your permits to you in around 4 days, because we know it takes time, and we'd rather have your money working for you versus sitting in the bank. And the faster we get your permits and your entitlements, the sooner you can get those shovels in the ground. So we're really proud of our self-certification program.
Very good. And just to comment quickly, I've worked with staff in all of your jurisdictions, and they're all great people and very, very professional. So I think a lot of us developers and a lot of us in the room look at it as a public-private partnership. We like to work in a partnership with our local government. So if there's stakeholders in the room, I'm sure there's many of us that would like to participate in the process, and having a conversation of what we can do in some of those jurisdictions to help make that process a little better. So keep that in mind going forward, if you would, too.
I also blame the Clark County Planning Commission. They are so slow.
I won't take any responsibility for that. Let's talk a little bit about a lands bill. And in preparation for today's panel, I was reflecting on discussions I've had with out-of-state lenders or capital partners I've worked with over the years. And when they'd come to visit, one of our projects, they'd fly into town, they'd get off the plane, and the first thing they'd mention when they flew in is that they saw land everywhere flying over the valley and had no understanding of what we were talking about when we mentioned land constraints or scarcity. So we'd sit down with them in the conference room, we'd bring out a map of the valley, and first thing we'd do is do an overlay of the zoning map. Then we'd overlay the Clark County Aviation-owned properties on the map. And then finally, the BLM-owned land. And we'd explain to them that the federal government, controls roughly, 80 percentile of the land in southern Nevada. They'd initially react with complete surprise because this is different than what they dealt with in the states or regions that they, were from or normally did business in. We recently had two NAIOP members, Jamie Thalgott and Steve Niger, who I think are both here with us today, write an op-ed in the Review Journal on all the reasons that we need a lands bill. For those of you that haven't read it, I believe we have a copy on each of the tables for you this morning, so I'd encourage you to read through it and to share that information. Governor Lombardo has publicly supported a lands bill, citing economic development, diversity, and affordable housing. Senator Cortez Masto submitted a new lands bill, I believe, last week. I'd like to talk a little bit about how each of you are involved in your current position with the lands bill and what each of you can do to push the bill forward, knowing that it's an act of Congress. And Mayor Goynes-Brown, we'll start with you on this.
Thank you for your question. Well, I think regionally, and this is a regional approach that all of the jurisdictions, and especially in North Las Vegas, we are working closely with our federal delegation, with Senator Cortez Masto's office. We've also worked with Jackie Rosen's office, support with the letter that the governor has submitted to the White House that's going to focus on hopefully to fast track and release federal land so that we are able to more develop, especially in our residential space. And so, and for us also, that there's a section of that lands bill regarding Apex that will just transfer BLM easement ownership to the city. And so this is just important for us and then all of us just to further our development over the years. So we are all working tangibly with one another. So this is truly a regional effort.
Could you just expand a little bit more on the Apex portion of that?
It's just that lands will be able to be released, and those entitlements and those easements will belong to the city of North Las Vegas, and that will just further our development.
So that you currently go through the process to release those easements from the BLM, and that's an application process that can take a couple of years. So that land will be turned over to the city of North Las Vegas. Am I understanding that correct?
Correct. And just the amount of time that you said, and that's what we're hoping we can get some of those processes streamlined. But that is going to take time, and we know it's an election year, so we'll just have to see what happens. But we will still work diligently, but we have to be patient.
And that is part of this current lands bill that was recently proposed?
Correct.
Very good. It's very interesting. Commissioner Segerblom, we know that the county has worked very closely on this. Would you like to talk a little bit about the lands bill?
Yes, obviously it's very important for all of us to get some of that BLM land freed up so we can continue to develop. But I think we historically have gotten kind of spoiled. Having Senator Reed there, he was able to put things through that no one else could have. And we're told now the head of the committee in the Senate, Senator Manchin, has said he's not going to, because he's in charge now, he's not going to let Nevada steamroll him. So it is a slow process, and my philosophy is don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We need to get something out of there this year if we can, and we can't. We add a lot of little ornaments to it, but individually they may be okay, but if collectively they can be, somebody can step in and say, I don't want this, I don't want that, and we only have 6 months before the end of the year. So we need to focus on what we really need, be willing to push forward. All our congressional delegation is on board, but if we can get something through the Senate, let's not hold it up and say, oh, it's not perfect, we want something else, because this is a great chance to get something we all know that more land is the critical element for developers in Las Vegas. So that's what we're committed to, is to get something out this year if we can.
Very good. Councilman Shaw.
Thank you. As you know, this is the largest conservation bill in Nevada's history. will allow 25,000 acres for the county to develop over the next several decades. One of the critical issues of this bill is that there's a 700-acre transition area that's really important to the city of Henderson. We really need this. It also allows for Southern Nevada Water to install a new line south of Henderson, which we desperately need. The current straw out of Lake Mead is almost at a capacity, so if we're going to continue to develop, we need this. So we, like all of my constituents here, are working with the federal legislators to try to make this happen, and we are willing to cooperate and do whatever we can do to move this forward.
The 700 acres you mentioned, can you kind of define where that sits in Henderson?
Follows I-15 from basically Inspirada Drive south along I-15 going towards the new Ivanpah Airport, and there's a portion of that the county has and that we have, and we need to have that for future expansion and access into our city.
Very good. It's an interesting parcel. Let's talk a little bit about affordable housing. So there are affordable housing issues going on all throughout the country, as we all know right now. Some would say we're facing a crisis here in Southern Nevada. What are each of you doing in your jurisdictions to address the affordable housing issues we are currently facing? And Councilman Shaw, let's start with you on this one.
Yes, this is a critical issue. We're short of affordable housing. It's just amazing how much need there is for this. I was instrumental in forming a new housing authority, Blue Ribbon Committee in Henderson last January. We have 11 members from all segments of the business community, the governmental community, to look at and study this issue and come back with some positive recommendations. They are already starting to do that. We are pushing for more grants. We are pushing for more participation from developers to help us with this affordable issue. And this affordable issue is not just homelessness. It's everything. We have an Amazon facility, as I'm sure the mayor knows, and we have roughly 75% of their employees have to drive from other parts of the county because they cannot afford to live in Henderson. So it's critical for us that we have affordable housing. We've gotten great cooperation from many of our developers to assist us in that, but we're looking to streamline that process, make it more affordable, look at fees, doing anything we can to try to encourage affordable housing in our community.
Commissioner Segerblom?
Yes, I would just echo what Dan said as far as it's a critical element to us, and at the county we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to assist that developing. One of the things we do is we have creative financing, so we'll add some of our money into what is already there to make sure that they can create some type of development. But the other thing is, it's interesting, I'm on the Housing Authority. We have 10,000 vouchers in Las Vegas. The same number of people in Chicago, they have 50,000 vouchers. So, and you can use those vouchers to subsidize housing, to make a layer of financing which would enable a property that couldn't otherwise be built with those new vouchers. So we're trying to get the congressional delegation and the White House to get this, if we can't get 40,000 more vouchers, at least another 10,000 or 20,000 vouchers, which would help us get to help us build some affordable housing. But the other thing is, we have all these major hedge funds coming in and buying up all the houses. And that's something I think we really need to look firm at, because that's, once they grab those houses and take them off the market, that's a whole other group of people that can't buy houses, that raises the price of everything. And so if there's a way we can limit their access or limit their control over a major portion of our single-family houses, I think that would be very valuable. But it's as Dan said, it's a huge problem, and it's not getting any better. And as the rents go up, people get pushed down lower and lower, and at the bottom they get pushed out on the street. And as you know, we have a huge homeless problem too.
Tick has been a great supporter of that. Just to give you an idea, Tick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the waiting list for those vouchers in Southern Nevada is about 40,000 people.
Yes.
Can you expand a little bit on the vouchers? I'm not too familiar with that. Just like a little bit of a better understanding.
Most people know about Section 8, where you have a Section 8 voucher, and you can if you qualify, you can take that voucher and go to an apartment complex or even a home and use it to pay for your rent. But right now there's 10,000 that we have available, but most of them are being used, well, all of them are being used right now. But we can also, if we get more, we can use them to a builder. So a builder can say, I'll take 100 vouchers and use that, because they're going to have guaranteed income for that, for the life of their project. They can use that when they go to the bank to borrow money to build their facility. So if we can get, you know, the 10,000 of those vouchers, that's a huge piece of financing that's available for affordable housing.
Mayor Goynes-Brown.
Not much to add. I'd just like to piggyback off what my colleagues said up here, but also for us, and just going back to the previous question, you know, working with the federal government and in our congressional delegation with the release of more BLM land would help tremendously with the affordable housing crisis that we have across all of our jurisdictions. So it is an issue, and so working with our builders as well, just to kind of hone in on projects that do qualify under affordable housing.
Absolutely, that's a great point. I mean, the lack of control of our federal lands really keeps upward pressure on pricing in the valley too, which definitely affects affordable housing. Affects us in many different ways, especially when we're competing with other states in the region who have more availability of land. So, great point. Recent news articles predicted that we'll be at capacity at Harry Reid International Airport by roughly 2035. The airport is a major economic driver for this valley. The Ivanpah Airport would relieve some pressure from Harry Reid International and potentially handle air cargo. What do you see as the path forward in bringing the Ivanpah Airport online? And if we're unable to develop the airport by 2035, how does that impact our local economy? And you want to take a stab at it first,
Well,
Mayor?
100% in support of it, actually. As we are a growing city, and we're just going to continue to grow, our populations are always increasing. However, go to the other end, there's a nice little airport in the city of North Las Vegas, and that airport it's very fruitful, especially when there's huge events in town, like Formula One or Super Bowl and any sports event. The airport is utilized tremendously, and it's also undergoing studies right now for its own expansion project of that North Las Vegas airport and the runway. So that'll just add to.
Very good. Chairman Segerblom.
Yes, I'll push back a little bit on that airport, on the Ivanpah Airport. I think we need to make sure that the need is truly there. I mean, with larger airplanes and overnight landings and takeoffs, we can really expand our airport beyond what we have. So I'm not sure how soon we need to do it, and I would certainly not want to have people landing in Ivanpah and having to bus into Las Vegas. But the best things about Las Vegas is when tourists come here, they can get off a plane and get right to their hotel. So we need to be a little bit cautious about how that's going to save us and who's going to land out there. The other things I would say is our airport looks like crap. So I think we need to think about right now, let's redo our Terminal A and Terminal B and Terminal C, and let's make that a class act like we do with the Strip. I mean, there's no reason that you should come in and have the bathrooms overflowing, or it's amazing in a tourist economy how bad our airports become. And I'm responsible for the airport, so I take this personally. But I think we should look seriously about redoing our A, B, and C gates in the short term while we worry about going down to California in the future.
And is there a need to potentially push air cargo out to Ivanpah, or you think that all can be handled?
No, that could be, but again, that's part of the process of what's that going to cost us to have air cargo out there. That'd be a great location. But the flip side is you don't want to have air cargo come there, trucks from California come up, pick it up, and take it back to California. I mean, if we're going to use it, let's use it for Nevada. I mean, I think one of the problems we've had in developing Las Vegas is we have a huge warehouse industry, not to blame North Las Vegas, but what we're doing is we're putting trucks back and forth on I-15 right through our main thoroughfare with cargo that comes in from California, lands here, and then goes back to California, and it's destroying our, people can't get back and forth to California or even down on I-15 back and forth. So we need to think through what we're doing when we're just becoming a destination point for people from California who want to park their stuff here because it's cheaper here.
Interesting perspective. Can you talk a little bit about the lands bill? I know in the previous bill there was some land dedicated for that Ivanpah Airport. Is that part of this current bill as well?
Yes, that's part of the bill, and as Dan said, it'll include portions for Henderson and the county to go down I-15 to Ivanpah, and that's going to require a huge infrastructure as far as water and sewer, bringing the water back. So we're talking about billions and billions of dollars, and so as we do this, I want to make sure that my area, which is the poor area of East Las Vegas, doesn't sacrifice because we're trying to build these huge infrastructure projects down to California. I mean, we want to do it all together, but let's not punish ourselves here in the short term for something in the long term. We want to make sure our schools and our neighborhoods and our parks are as high qualities to make sure that people who live here, they don't have to suffer for something that's going to happen 20 or 30 years away.
Councilman Shaw, anything to add to that?
I happen to be a very big proponent of strategic planning. And the Ivanpah Airport is going to take 10 years to get to that point. If we don't start something now, we're going to have a serious problem. One of the issues, just to give you an example, F1. Normal landing fee at the Henderson Airport is $55. During F1, it was $2,500 to land, $2,500 to park, and $2,500 to take off. And you had to have a reservation. Without that reservation, you could not land because they were so busy. This town is encouraging more super events. We've got Super Bowl, we've got F1, we have all of these big events coming in. And that just continues to put pressure on our airports. And I agree with Tick, we need to upgrade our airport. It's in real need of upgrading. But I also think that we need to look strategically at how we can have more landing slots available for tourists and event goers in downtown, which we're one of the few major resort communities that has an airport downtown, and move some of that freight and cargo and whatever out to another airport so we free up those landing slots. So yeah, I think we need to start planning and pushing it right now.
And you think it was a little restrictive with F1 and events like that for businessmen or high net worth individuals coming into the valley and not having the ability to...
If you can't get a reservation, now most people who are flying private jets in here probably don't care about a $2,500 landing fee, but if you can't get a reservation, you're not gonna come. So, and we look at that international market for F1. Those are really important people that we've got to entertain here and create that enthusiasm for. And as we're continuing to expand this sports market and all of our great events that we do, we need to have landing slots available for them.
If I can just follow up on F1, though. I mean, F1 is a classic example of not planning.
That's right.
I mean, so,
Dick, I'm trying to be really nice to you here, but you're taking it on yourself.
I don't know why the county's being hammered on so much, but truthfully, that was a disaster from the planning standpoint. I think we all learned a lesson. Hopefully, we learned the lesson and won't repeat it. But those are the kind of things where we need to make sure, from airlines or private airplanes landing to the people getting to the strip to whatever, but we can do a better job and we need to.
And it wasn't a question on the agenda, but since you've mentioned it, what does F1 look like this year? How is that different than last year?
Well, honestly, we don't know yet, but I will say this, at least the number one problem was the bridge on Flamingo, where it blocked everything off, and we've at least agreed to reduce that to 2 lanes as opposed to 4 lanes, so you'll be able to go around the bridge in addition to going over the bridge. So that should at least alleviate some of the initial problems, but we're trying to work through all the transportation issues, making sure that people can get to work, making sure that it doesn't impact people just going back and forth across town, but way shortening the amount of time that they tear up all the roads and everything. Last year they did have to redo all the streets, which they won't have to do this time, but I'm not convinced it's worth it in the long term for Las Vegas. No other city has it in the city. Most of them have it at a track somewhere else. And I think ultimately, if we want to keep it, we may want to consider that.
Can I add, and just from a local standpoint, since, Councilman, I know, since we hear from our constituents about F1 and the hate of F1, and talking with, because I'm on the LVCVA board and just talking with them, I just think from a constituent local standpoint, the F1 did not feel like a community event or that Las Vegas owned that event. And so, you know, there's been lots of talks about community outreach from F1, whether that happens or not, or just bring it to the local level where people can feel like they're a part, they can even attend these races, yet alone all the other fiascos that happen. So conversations are happening, so hopefully you'll see a lot of change this go round.
Very good. We'll be watching. It'll be interesting to see how that shapes up in this coming year. Mr. Tuntlin, I know you're out there somewhere. How are we looking on time? We have time for one more. I know we want to go to Q&A with the audience here for a few minutes.
Ask another one, Tim.
Okay, very good. So this will be kind of a fun one, allow for some speculation for all three of you. So you've all seen this town transform at an incredible pace in your lifetime and your career, from strictly gaming to entertainment and now a sports town. How do you see the growth of the Valley in the decade to come? And Councilman Shaw, let's start with you on this one.
I've been here a long time. When I first moved out to Henderson, if it rained, we had to wait for the rain to subside because Duck Creek didn't have a bridge over the top of it. And so the growth from being a relatively small town, 250,000 people, to 2.5 million has been phenomenal. The ability to plan for that and to build infrastructure for that and to figure out how to move people and create jobs has been amazing. I think that over the next decade, we're going to see a continuance to that. We're going to see more diversification in jobs. We're going to see more companies coming to town. I think it's really critical that we look at our education system, because we need to be able to provide workers for all of these companies that want to come here, and that is a critical issue. We have to provide quality job training, quality education to support that diversification. And I think we're going to see more of that. We have to do better planning in order to support that, but I think it's going to continue to grow and diversify and be a really great community.
And you make a great point there. Education, unfortunately, we're very limited on time. We're at the 9 o'clock point right now, and we want to do a little Q&A with the audience. But education, workforce development, that was one of the questions we didn't have time to get to, but it's been such a critical issue to us in this valley over the years. So I'm glad that you touched on that there briefly. Chairman Segerblom.
Just to ditto on as far as what Dan said, the one thing I see different is I see development coming back in. I think because we are reaching the elements of the outside of the valley, that people, it's going to start pushing in, and when you push in, it pushes up. And I also see that the large tracts of land where the developers can come in, those are gone, so we're going to see smaller acre pieces. I talked to someone today about 5-acre pieces, but let's try to look at infill, and local government can really work to assist on that as far as making those parcels available. But and the final thing is with schools, you know, the number one reason that we don't have diversification is no company wants to bring their families here because of our school system, even though we have a great school system. And we've lived in silos where the school district does their thing and we all do our own thing. I know these two cities have actually started to get involved in the schools, and that's what I'd like the county to do too, is we have to get out of silos and realize we're all in this together. We can take advantage of the schools for us, the schools can take advantage of the local governments, but we just need to realize that we need to improve the image of the schools so that when people want to bring their families or look at Las Vegas, they say, that's a great place to live.
Very good. Mayor?
Can I just say ditto? No, as we continue to grow in the city of North Las Vegas, we know we're a municipality that has the most available land still, and so we will continue our goals of our growth in our industrial space, our manufacturing space, our residential space, our commercial spaces, and also we know that, and I know that you've heard that the city of Henderson and the city of North Las Vegas are charter school authorizers, and so that'll be great for our families to provide choice on their education. education, and also including the great work in Clark County School District, because there are some great things that are going on. But we'll be able to offer families choice, and that way we can help diversify all of those spaces by bringing in businesses with choices to say that you can educate your child in the style that you want to, in the manner that you want to. And so that will just solidify the growth that's happening in all of our jurisdictions across the board.
Very good. Great insight there. Dan Tutland, want to do a little Q&A with the audience? We're a few minutes out.
Thank you very much, Tim. Cassie called me by my full name. I thought I was in trouble. She normally just calls me Tutland. We got a couple questions about the city of Las Vegas, so they're not going to be answered because they're not here, so thank you for your questions. Tick, we want to thank you for your honesty. That's what makes these programs so great, is when somebody can just get up stage and be honest and tell it like it is.
It's tough to hide $80 million.
It was in the paper, correct, but we really do thank you. Tony Celeste is here from Kemper Crowell in his whole office, and he thinks you and the city, or the county, are doing a wonderful job, and he loves your staff, and it's a pleasure to work with, as he said.
That's because they have all the appointments. They have grabbed them all up, and then they just divvy them up and sell them.
So we have a bunch of questions, one from each jurisdiction. So start with Dan. What can you speak about on West Henderson?
I'm sorry, one more time.
On West Henderson.
A lot going on in West Henderson. As you know, the M Resort just has announced their expansion. They're adding 300 rooms. We've got more residential development going on, industrial development. We're completing, with the help of NDOT, access to the freeway on I-15 in 2 locations, Inspirada and Villanoble. Obviously, we have the Raiders out there. We have a new hospital opening in about 3 months. So a lot going on in West Henderson. We just broke ground on a brand new fire station in West Henderson. We'll have a new police station out there. So expanding, growing. We have a great master plan, and we're working that plan.
I'm going to ask a quick medical question because it was in our panel, and since all jurisdictions have some medical issues, including maybe the Children's Hospital with UTIC, would you 3 touch on medical for a minute? You want to finish, Dan, or you can continue?
Sure, we're happy to approach that. As I said, we have a brand new hospital opening in West Henderson. We're continually trying to upgrade our medical facilities and the opportunity to have higher quality medical care in our city. We've seen some great things happening as far as new hospitals and health programs coming to Southern Nevada, which is helping us a lot. A couple of interesting facts that I'm sure Tick knows. Last year, 55,000 children left this valley for medical care. They either went to Scripps, they went to Arizona, or they went to Primary Children's in Utah. 55,000 kids. The primary reason for that is that the Medicaid reimbursement in Nevada, as compared to all of the states that surround us, is 4 times less. 4 times. So it's really difficult to convince a pediatric hospital to come to town when they can't get reimbursed at the same rate that they get reimbursed in Arizona, California, Idaho, Colorado, Utah. So we really need the legislature's help to upgrade that so we can encourage more high-quality medical care facilities and doctors to come to this town.
Just to follow up on that, I know we're in talks, or I shouldn't say we, but there's communication with the hospital out of Utah to build a children's hospital. And one of the questions is going to be where it is. It looks like it'll probably be at the Reed Center there on 215. But as you're right, we have to have a children's hospital. It's critical. We are creating downtown, UMC is under the county, so we are partnering with the city to develop that where UMC is, make a medical center there, the medical schools there. Honestly, my district, which is East Las Vegas, Desert Springs Hospital closed. Sunrise Hospital is getting bigger, but we need more facilities in East Las Vegas, so that's an area that we need to work on. But just like with schools, hospitals and medical schools are so critical to when people want to move here. That's one of the things they look toward. What kind of care can I get for my family? And that's an area we need to really work on.
And I'll just add that with our project, our downtown project, and the medical campus down there, and the one that's adjacent to the VA hospital, but I think the other problem is we build all of these medical facilities. We have to have workers here that are going to staff them and work here in our city. And right now, we are not producing enough in the medical space to staff or fully staff our facilities. And so we need to graduate students here, have places for them to work and train them so that they can stay here upon graduation. We don't want to lose them to other states because we don't have the facilities or we don't have the programs here in Clark County and in Las Vegas. So that's a real dilemma.
Follow up, there was a question on the 135 acres next to the VA hospital and the plans the city has since they took it back.
It is going to be our medical complex, and the goal for us and the vision for us is to be able to attract specialty care, research focused, with the shops and the cafes, the green spaces. We want to focus on healthy living. I know you've heard of blue zones, and so we want to focus on creating a healthy space for not just citizens in North Las Vegas, but any person that lives here to come to get their needs taken care of, and also just a safe space to come, healthy foods, healthy choices, job creation. And then we've been in, just on the surface, talks with UNLV because there's acreage out there, 2,000 acres, where we're looking at more research type facilities or some type of housing complex for athletes if they're injured, come and get rehabilitation services, focus on them and brain research, the whole gamut, to complete the whole person. But the main goal for us is just to focus on healthy living and a healthy lifestyle on that campus.
Thank you, Chairman. There's a question on stadiums. There's a proposed stadium, more than proposed, Blue Diamond and Las Vegas Boulevard by the Oak Group, and then the old Wet and Wild site, if you would comment on those. Who's going to win the NBA team?
That's a $64,000 question. I know the Oakview...
Most of the audience isn't that old, sir.
The Oakview... it sounds like a great plan, but they haven't submitted anything to the county as far as an actual development. So it's still a pie in the sky kind of thing. Ideally, the railroad would go to that, so it would be a good combination there. But it's still kind of a dream. But we are going to get an NBA team. It's just a question of where. I know the AllNet site between the Sahara and Fontainebleau, that's been there forever and been talked about. Jackie Robinson, they finally had to quit, but there's a new group in town that says they're going to go forward, and they've hired great architects and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's where's the money going to come from? Right now, money is very tough for these, $5 and $10 billion projects. So whichever one gets in the ground, gets going first, may get that NBA team. But it's going to be in the county either way. So it's just a question of when.
Thank you very much. Any more questions from the audience? We got a couple minutes, but I want to thank you, and NAIOP wants to thank you. We probably have 250 plus to 300. It's great panelists like you that make our breakfast good, and really appreciate it. If anyone has anything else they want to say in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Wait, we got a last minute question. Are there any plans to improve the current Nevada housing, multifamily, FHA programs compared to other states? Senior living? I don't know. I'm just reading it.
I'm not sure exactly.
Nor am I.
But let me just say that the county is we have a housing entity under the county. We never had that before, so we are actively working with federal money, state money, local money to promote senior citizen housing, affordable housing, any kind of housing we can do.
Thank you very much to our panel and to Tim. Thank you. If you'll just stay real quick, we'll do a photo. Thank you. Thank you to everybody in attendance today in the room and via Zoom. Thank you again to our breakfast sponsor, Cox Business. Hope everybody has a great day. See you in July.